Carroll bringing it forward. Thompson's making the run. Carroll hangs on to it though. Still Davy Carroll. Could go all the way here. Oh, what a goal!
Right, Sheffield Wednesday coming to Adams Park this Saturday. It's going to be a sellout. It's going to be a fantastic day. Will Wycombe get the 3 points or even a point? Or will Sheffield Wednesday continue their incredible run of 18 games unbeaten, which included beating Newcastle United, who are on pretty good form themselves this season as well? Well, to find out more, we've got James Mappin with us. James, you must be absolutely delighted with the run, but also let's talk about Newcastle first and foremost. What a performance.
Yeah, it was fantastic. I mean, that's probably the second time this season where we've been the underdogs. The other one being Southampton in the League Cup, which we held them to a 1-1 draw. Obviously went out on penalties, but yeah, it was great to see Newcastle in town. I mean, it weren't too long since we actually played them. Obviously, when they were in the Championship, and we beat them that time as well. So, but no, to have them down there, they filled out the away end, which I know has been talked about quite a lot, which we'll not touch on. But they filled out the away end, which they made lots of noise and stuff. But yeah, the performance, it was a total different performance that we've seen from Sheffield Wednesday. I think the possession was something like less than 30% that we had. Newcastle, I'm sure if people watched, obviously it was on BBC, Newcastle did dominate the game, and that we were going to see that, really, that was going to happen. But for us to beat Newcastle, we need to be on form and take our chances, and we did need a bit of luck. Newcastle needed to be kind of not quite firing, and as you saw from the chances that they missed, I think Cameron Dawson made 2 fantastic saves, but in reality, he shouldn't have been allowed to make those saves. Both of those should have been in the back of the net. And then, of course, Chris Wood missed an absolute sitter as well. But I'm not taking anything away from our performance. Josh Windass, 2 goals. He's in fine form. He got a hat-trick against Cambridge just last Monday as well. And I think the second goal, wouldn't have looked out of place in the Premier League, to be honest. So, no, I'm delighted with the performance. It showed a different way that we can play. Everyone to a man did a job, and yeah, it's just great time to be a Sheffield Wednesday fan at the moment.
I watched the game, and one of the things that really jumped out at me was it felt a bit like watching Wycombe. I think you guys have you got a bit more steel about you this year?
Yeah, I mean, I've got to hand it to Stockdale, to be fair. I know, obviously, you know him very, very well, and all the tricks that he does. Obviously, he didn't play on Saturday against Newcastle, but I think he offers a lot more than just the performances in the 90 minutes. I think off the pitch, we were just talking earlier about that, about how his presence, and we see the videos from the training ground. Him and Cameron Dawson they seem to have got like camaraderie together and joking, and you see as well we've got a young lad in Pierce Charles, who I think is only 18, 19 years old, and it seems to have took him under his wing. And I wouldn't be surprised if Stockdale kind of stayed on as some sort of coach or goalkeeping coach or something like that, because I can really see that sort of thing in him. And yeah, he's got all the tricks in the trade in terms of the time wasting and just kind of slowing the game down, and perhaps just giving the players that bit of belief that they can do that, and it is the right thing to do. I think sometimes I don't want to say play a game the right way, because that's the wrong thing to say. Obviously, there's no right or wrong way to play football, but I think we tried to, just score as many goals as we can, and we came unstuck last season, and this season we've seemed to. I think if you have a look, we've only conceded 1 goal in the last 10 minutes of a game in the whole season, which is absolutely fantastic. I mean, we've not conceded many goals anyway, and that comes as no surprise that that Stockdale is now one of our players, and we've kind of shored that thing up and kind of stopped conceding silly goals, really.
Yeah, it's no surprise to hear that he's a big fan of what Cameron Dawson's doing now. He's got the gloves. He's a real team player, and we really miss him, in terms of his character and stuff as well. But we've replaced him well with Max Triek, who's been an excellent signing for us too. in terms of the Sheffield Wednesday side, I know a lot of Wycombe fans will probably be losing sleep over the thought of Barry Bannon, but sounds like he's injured.
He is, yeah. He picked up an injury just before Christmas, and then Darren Moore didn't say this, but reading between the lines, he came back when he shouldn't have come back, and he went down again and picked up an injury, and he said that he needs to follow the regime basically, and not come back too early. Barry Bannon just wants to play football. He desperately wants to get this club out of League One. I think he feels like it, because obviously when he came to the club, he was in the Championship. He was there in the playoff final when we lost to Hull. I think he feels like it's his responsibility to get us out of this league, and obviously being club captain, he's going to try everything that he can do. But yeah, I think he just needs to realise that it's not just him. I mean, it's great quality to have in a play, and that's what you want. You don't want people to be hiding away. But yeah, he won't be playing on Saturday, like I said, I'm sure a lot of people listening will be cheering at that. But one thing I would say is he didn't play against Newcastle, and we beat them 2-1, and we scored 5 goals against Cambridge, and he also didn't play in that game either. So we can win without Barry Bannon, as much as we were worried about what life looks like without a Barry Bannon in the side, because since he's come, he's played pretty much every single game. I think last season the only game he didn't play was against Wigan, and I think this season, up until the point of being injured, he only missed Peterborough, and that was down to an illness. So he plays pretty much every single week, and for us Wednesday fans, we don't know what it's like for him not to play. But we've seen that in recent weeks, and we can clearly play without him as well.
I was impressed by Deneran when he came on against Newcastle. Windass is a player that's been doing bits in League One for a while now as well, but I thought he was excellent and has been this season as well, by the look of it. But there's some really good players in there, across the team from 1 to 11. Who should Wycombe really be fearing? We know about Michael Smith as well.
Yeah, you mentioned Josh Windass. He is obviously the one in form. He scored 5 goals in 5 days, which is fantastic. It's strange because before that he has been poor. Darren Moore dropped him, quite rightly so, as well, due to his performances. But I suppose he's got that fire in his belly. You could see that against Cambridge, scoring the hat trick. A lot was spoken about the way that he didn't celebrate. I don't know whether us Wednesday fans were making a bit of a mountain out of a molehill or not, but he looked like he got substituted off at the end. Got a standing ovation and just walked straight onto the bench. Didn't really acknowledge anyone. I don't know whether that's to be fair, if he wants to score hat tricks, he can do that day in, day out. But I don't know whether that was a kind of aimed at Darren Moore or not for dropping him. I think he thinks he's a lot better than League One. In recent form, he probably clearly is, but he's got to show that consistently. And if he carries on the recent form, then yeah, he's definitely one to watch. You've mentioned Michael Smith. He's got 8 goals this season. He only had 4 up until recently. He's got 4 goals in his last 2 league games. 2 from the penalty spot. 1 was a deflection. But they all count, don't they? So hopefully he can kind of kick on from there, because to be fair, we were a little bit disappointed with his goal return, especially from last season at Rotherham. I think he scored 17, 18 goals for Rotherham. So that's what we thought we were signing, and it's not quite worked out for him. I know he was injured at the start of the season, but yeah, we do have goals coming from everywhere. In recent weeks, they had been drying up, but of course, a 5-0 win against Cambridge massively helps. You mentioned Adeniran. Yeah, he's been injured, and he's just coming back from injury, and he's obviously we've lost Barry Bannon, but Adeniran's coming back. He's going to be a massive asset. The other one I need to point out is probably Will Volks. Again, start of the season, I want to say poorly. He didn't, he wasn't the player that we thought we'd signed, from what you've seen at Cardiff and Rotherham when he's played there. But now he's really coming into his own. If you saw him on Saturday against Newcastle, it was kind of, I won't say bossing that midfield, but he's getting stuck in. He's just like a Rolls Royce. He just picks the ball up and everything looks so effortless. The criticism was perhaps that he was a bit like a crab, sideways and backwards passes. But now he's getting the ball in the half turn and he's driving forward. And in the last 2 games without Barry Bannon, I think he's kind of thought, he's took it upon himself to kind of take up that role. Everything kind of went through Bannon. I'm not saying everything went through Volks, but he had 110 touches or something like that against Cambridge, which is phenomenal, really. And and lo and behold, we scored 5 goals. So yeah, the point I'm trying to make, I suppose, is there's lots of players that we've got that, it's not just Barry Bannon that we have. There's quality everywhere, really.
You've got the best goal difference in League One, but defensively, Hennigan's out for the season. I've been impressed by McGuinness, who's on loan from Cardiff. Any chance of him being recalled? Because obviously Cardiff struggling at the wrong end of the Championship.
Yeah, it's a bit like the hokey cokey, to be honest, with McGuinness. It's in, out, in, out. I've no idea. We're recording this on Wednesday. I think he might be going back, although I would have said that last week as well. But then in between that, he's been staying, he's been going, he's been staying again. So yeah, I don't know what's happening. McGuinness was training. Yes, I know he was training yesterday. I don't know if he was there today. Nothing's been said. But yeah, I think we'll probably know on Saturday whether he lines up for Wednesday or not. That's the only indication. It will be a massive blow if he's not playing for Sheffield Wednesday, because he has been fantastic since he's come in. Absolute, wins every single header. He's a great centre back, and we've needed him, to be fair, because we are struggling. Michael Heck was injured. Hennigan's out for the season. For Maywo, another one that we brought in this season, he's only just come back from injury. He's only played 20 minutes of football. So I'm hoping that McGuinness does stay. If he doesn't, I'm probably sat with, we either play for Maywo, who's played 20 minutes, or we're not playing with a centre back, which is not ideal on Saturday, and we are panicking a little bit, let's say.
Okay. Well, let's talk about the game on Saturday at Adams Park. There'll be lots of you there. We've got an extra 900 tickets for Sheffield Wednesday fans, which I'm sure you've all snapped up. The home ends will be sold out, so should be a cracking atmosphere at a tight little ground. Wycombe tend to step up on these occasions. Are you worried about Saturday?
Well, we asked the question that we had 4 games. Cambridge, the last one was the first. Then it's Wycombe. Then we've got Fleetwood, and then we travel to Cheltenham as well, before 3 really tough games against Barnsley, Plymouth and Ipswich, which could be, season defining, to be fair. And I must admit, most Wednesday fans said 9 or 10 points from the 4 games. The tricky one being this one on Saturday against Wycombe. Obviously, those that said we'll pick 9 points up think we might lose this game on Saturday. So that's probably where we're at, where what we're thinking. Obviously, it is away from home. I think we've lost his last 2 visits to Adams Park as well. Last season was horrible. We needed to win. There was a lot of pressure on that game, and obviously he beat us 1-0. So yeah, I think it's going to be a really tough game. I think it is probably out of those 4 that I've mentioned. Obviously, it is the toughest game out of those 4. I'll be happy with a point, to be honest, if we can walk away with a point on Saturday. Of course, obviously we want to win the game, but I think you've got to look at the long game, really, and look at the season as a whole. And if you win your home games and draw your away games, you're not going to be too far away come the end of the season. Obviously, we've got a long unbeaten run. I think Ipswich play Plymouth as well on Saturday, so one of those 2 teams are going to definitely slip up, if not both of them as well. So a draw on Saturday wouldn't be a disaster. I am taking promise out of the fact that you have said that Wycombe do play a little bit different this season to last season, because if you were playing anything like last season, I would be worrying a lot more, to be fair. So yeah, the fact that you're playing a lot more football is promising.
Well, let's see which Wycombe turn up on Saturday. You mentioned the long season. Is it an absolute disaster if you don't get automatically promoted?
100%. Yeah, like we need to get out of this division. I don't want to go through the playoffs. We did that last season, and it was horrible. Obviously, you had the same. You probably even worse for yourselves, because you went to Wembley and missed out. We've been there, obviously, to get to the promised land, and we missed out. So we feel your pain. The last 2 times we've been in League One, we've got out at the second attempt. First time it took the playoffs back in 2005. 2012, we went up second. I'd like to go one better and be champions. I think we've got the squad to do that. The difference being in the other 2 previous times, the first season was terrible and we finished in the bottom half. Last year, we managed to obviously get into the playoffs, so we've got a lot of, the expectation is much higher that we can go one better and get out of this league. A lot of people saying that with the squad that we've got, we should be doing a lot better. I think people forget that Darren Moore has built that squad, and he has brought all those players in as well, so we have to take a lot of credit for that. It's not, he hasn't inherited it, he's actually gone out there and brought those players in. But I do agree with the players that we've got. I think this is probably our best chance to win something. We haven't won something for a long time, and it would be a disaster if we didn't go up automatic and sat second at the moment, gone under the radar a little bit. I think Ipswich are going to be well up there come the end of the season. I think Plymouth are probably going to fall by the wayside a little bit. They've bought loads of players and they've got to gel quickly if they're going to stay up there. They've dropped points in recent weeks, so it's going to be tough. I just want to enjoy it, but I'm finding it really tough to enjoy it at the moment because it's cutthroat up there. You lose a game or you drop points in a draw, and it almost feels like a defeat sometimes, and you do drop down those places. The only satisfying thing is there's a bit of a buffer between the chasing pack, Barnsley and Derby, that is 9-10 points. I know they have got games in hand, but it's tough this season, and we just want to get out so bad.
Well, we wish you all the very best in that endeavour. Obviously, after Saturday, if you don't mind not winning on Saturday and then having a long unbeaten run after that, we're fine with that, by the way.
Well, I've told you, we'll take a draw. We'll take a draw. It's fine.
Well, James, enjoy the game on Saturday, if that's the right word. Yes, we'll see what happens. But we wish you all the best for the season. And thanks for your time today.
Thank you. Cheers, Phil. Thanks very much.
Big thanks to James Mappin there of Wednesday Till I Die podcast. It's going to be an absolute belter at Adams Park at the time of going to press. There's just a few tickets remaining, so if you want to come down, head to wwfc.com to secure your place for the big game. If you can't make it, then Wanderers TV has got you covered. In the meantime, come on you Blues.